Hi everybody. So yeah, what we're gonna do today is we're gonna try and do a simple animatic, like one short or a scene from an animatic using just black and white illustrations, as you can see here that I've prepared. It has a foreground, it has a middle ground, sorry, a background actually, and just a small little character. So I'm just going to show you some really basic tools. We are using nothing fancy, just probably one 3D camera and also some basic transformation tools. I think possibly we'll just be using the opacity tool. Okay, so let's get started. Let's just move my window out of the way. And okay, so let's look at the Photoshop file first. Now, what we have, I will show you. This is how my illustrations look like. I like to sometimes draw on an A4 paper. You can, of course, draw it in Photoshop straight away. But this is how my illustration looks like when I first scan it in. It's long because I'm going to do a panning, a kind of a tracking shot. The frog is going to start jumping from left to right towards this dinosaur here that's sleeping. I have drawn these little pieces of foliage as well that I have painted, filled with gray, to be in the foreground. So frog, I've cleaned it up and made contrast so that the white is cleaner, the lines are darker, and then this one as well. So I enlarged it a little bit. So this is all my assets right now, okay? And I have this frame here that shows me that is here for me as a guide, so that I know that this is 19201080. All right. So now, this is how I prepared my file, and I am going to import this file in. Go to File, Import File, and I'm going to import in this one, right? SNS, Animatic D, Panning, Composition, Retain Layer Sizes, press Open, and OK. All right, now, why I import in as Composition, Retain Layer Sizes, I have got another video, an introduction video that shows you why I actually do that. So now, I'm just going to double click on this composition, and as you can see, everything is in there, okay? But I really don't need the frame. Actually, I will delete it from the project library itself. So I'm going to delete the frame, which is the 19201080, and I don't think I need the background, which is essentially this thing. So I'm going to delete that as well. And all I'm left with is the foreground, the frog, right, and the background. So I'm not gonna, you can see this is obviously not the size or dimensions of a TV or a screen, because it is not 19201080, it's far larger than that. But I'm not gonna play around with that yet, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm gonna animate the frog first, okay? So I'm gonna go push the frog to this first one to the left, and I'm going to use the transformation tool to kind of make this one disappear, right? So I'm just going to have him kind of fade in and fade out, for him to move across the screen, because it is an animatic after all. So I'm not going to do anything too fancy, no movement, not much movements and stuff like that. You can add that in if you want. So I'm gonna, the first frog 01 is the one squatting, so I'm gonna bring out the opacity for that too. I think the entire sequence is gonna be about 10 seconds long, so I'm gonna cut the composition down to 10 seconds. And from here, so this is 100% now, the opacity. At 1 second, I'm going to let it rest for about 1 second, probably a little bit more. I'm going to keyframe this, right? And this as well, frog 2. And I'm going to move a couple of frames forward. So I'm going to zoom in. How you zoom into the timeline is you press the plus and minus key on your keyboard. Probably I'm going to go about 3 frames in front, have the second frog appear around here, and then have this guy disappear, okay, and this one will end. Or yeah, this guy will end, and this one is going to continue for another few seconds before he disappears as well. Well, you'll be asking like, so where's the frog gonna be? There are 2 ways to do it actually. I can continue using this frog and keep my. There are 2 ways actually. You can either keep your timeline, as in your elements, quite simple. Sorry for the interruption again. Now, coming back to where we left off, so you can either keep the timeline clean or your keyframes clean. Now, if you keep your keyframes clean, every time this frog reappears, again, let's say in a different position, you would have to kind of duplicate another one and place it there. But if, let's just say we want to keep our timeline clean, so we're going to just play around with the opacity. What you need to do is probably just stretch this back out. So have the frog appear and then disappearing, appearing and disappearing on and off. Okay, so in this first 2 keyframes, what you have is the frog appearing and then disappearing. Okay, so frog number 2, I'm going to hold this guy for probably a couple of frames. Yeah, here, create another keyframe. I'm going to click this. What you can do is either you copy and paste, or you just click this little diamond shape here. What it does, it creates another keyframe with the same value as the previous keyframe here. So I can click this, or alternatively, copy, paste, Control V. All right. And same goes for this one. And then now at 2 seconds, this guy is going to fade out. And I'm going to fade this in. But the thing is, I don't want him here. Okay? So what happens is, what's going to happen is, I'm going to bring down the P for position and move him, okay, to the front. Right? Now, I want to maintain him in the first part. I want him to remain here. Okay, so when he goes invisible, when frog 1 goes invisible, I'm going to just quietly kind of magically move him to this one, to this position here, so that when he reappears, he's there. Okay, so you saw what I just did? When he went invisible, I'm moving his position from here to here, so that when this guy reappears, he's over there. So it simulates the idea of him kind of moving forward. So I'm going to repeat one more time. Okay, so he's going to settle there for probably another half a second. Okay, over here, I'm going to keyframe the position and the opacity, and then I'm going to make him disappear, because what is going to happen is, when he disappears, this guy reappears. Now we have to start moving, okay? Because we don't want him to be, we don't want him to reappear here. We want him to kind of reappear on the other side. So what I just did was, I've locked down the position and moved him here because I want him in this position throughout this entire time. When he goes invisible, that's where I'm going to move him from here to here. Same thing as what I did for the guy sitting down for Fox 01. Okay, so As you can see, what will happen is it's going to disappear and then reappear, and obviously he's going to hold for a while, hold the opacity for a while, and then disappear. Now, I'm not going to explain at what point and to do what keyframes. I think it is more important for After Effects that you understand the concept of the keyframes so that you can do not just this type of animation, you can do anything else. Because if you're going to memorize, oh, at this frame, I need to make this keyframe or this value. If you understand the concept of when you want it to disappear and when you want him to move, then your animation will not be limited to just this. Okay, right? So now I want the other guy to reappear, right? So he's gonna disappear now, but so by the time he disappears, I need to make frog 1 reappear. So I'm gonna copy and paste 0, so it's at 0 right now, and the other guy will reappear. But obviously I don't want him to reappear here. He's not jumping backwards. I want him to jump forward. So when he reappears, okay, when he reappears, I want him to reappear over here, right in front of the dinosaur. Okay? So from this whole point of time, if you play, let's just play this 2-second portion of the film. Now, these two little bands here, once I shrink it down and I play, you'll notice that it only preview renders that portion. But before you output your film, make sure that you drag this and this all the way to the full length of the timeline so that everything gets rendered. I mean, if that's what you want, yeah? But if not, you can just shrink it down and preview render this portion and see if it's okay. So yeah, I'm quite happy. It's kind of jumping forward and then settling there at the dinosaur. So I think I think this entire scene may be about, it's comfortable to have it at like 4+ seconds. So I'm going to shave it down some more. I'm going to copy this keyframe. I mean, sorry, this time code here. Go to composition, paste it there, press OK. So my entire scene for this particular, my entire shot for this particular scene here is only 4 seconds plus. Okay, so I'm happy with the animation already. Now let's plant in a camera. All right, let's plant in the camera. How I usually like to plant in my camera is, yes, you go to layer, new camera, but I don't custom, probably 35 millimeters, 50 millimeters is good. Press OK. All right. So now, because we're introducing a camera, everything has to be made 3D. So I'm just going to make, how you're going to activate in 3D is you click this cube here. Okay, this cube, you can activate all this here, the 3D cube. And when that happens, if you check custom view, it's all 3D. Right? Once you are able to look at custom view 1 or custom view 2 like this, that's 3D already. Okay? See, if I deactivate it, you don't see anything. But once I activate it, you see, right? You can even see the camera. It's here. Now, the next thing I need to do is, my camera obviously is not this dimension. I need to change the dimension of my camera. So 1920, 1080. Right? So now, when I change to active camera, this is what my camera is looking at right now. Okay? Now, because I'm moving in 3D, it's better for me to have like 2 views so that I can see the top view of where my camera is and where my stage is. This is the top view. Obviously, everything is flat, so you kind of need to imagine all of your Photoshop layers as flat pieces of cardboards, like on a stage. and the camera is pointing towards them. So yeah. Now, the camera has its transformation tools as well. Yeah, obviously it will have your point of interest, position, all of the orientation or rotations, but I don't usually like to use the transformation tools for the camera here because, for example, just as a demonstration, just position itself. Let's just try to move one of the values of the camera. Yeah, this is the camera here. If you zoom in really close, you can see this small little box here from the top view. The blue arrow is the y-axis, x, and sorry, the green is the y, the blue is of course the z-axis, and the x-axis, which is the red one. Now, let me try and move one of the value, which is this one. See, when I move it, it actually doesn't move to the left. What it does, it kind of it kind of rotates with the point of interest locked in. So if you want to really move the camera left to right horizontally, you will have to move this as well, which I don't like, the point of interest. So it becomes a bit cumbersome. So I personally don't like to do that. I learned this trick from a post-production studio from one of my seniors before, quite many years ago. What we like to do is create a null object, make the null object 3D, all right? A null object is kind of like a dummy. It's like a small little square which is invisible. I'm going to take the camera, select the camera, and move the camera. You can do it two ways. You can either bring the null to the camera or move the camera to the null. So in this case, I'm bringing the null right all the way, zooming in. I'm zooming in with my mouse. Yeah, just using my roller and the mouse. And all planting it right in the front of the camera. And then I'm going to parent the camera to the null, and I'm locking the camera. So I'm going to rename the null now. Press enter, camera null, enter. So now, the null has its transformation tools, and the tools are a lot easier to use here. Okay, so if I were to say move left or right, it will move horizontally straight on the horizontal axis. It will not pivot at the anchor at the point of interest or whatsoever. Okay, so now I notice there's a little bit of black here, so I'm just going to move my camera up a little bit. And because the frog is here, so I'm just going to move my camera to the side, yeah, to the left. How I'm changing this value is I'm just clicking on it and moving my mouse to the left until I see the frog. Okay, so I see the frog here. All right, so from what I know, the frog, let's see where it starts. P, this position. All right, the frog starts here. It's going to jump. So I won't move the camera till probably about this point. So I'm going to keyframe the camera's position and going to move it as soon as he exits the frame. I'm going to move the position to reveal this. Okay, so it's as if the camera is kind of preempting the movement. It's an active camera, so it's moving before the frog moves. All right, now let's have a look at whether it's smooth or not. So he's jumping. Okay, camera might be a bit too fast, so I might want to do this. Have the camera in front and pan, and I'm gonna add an easy ease. Yeah, what I've just done is click the graph editor here, and then I get this and make it an easy ease. And let's play again. Yeah, much better. So the camera moves to the left. Okay, so I'm quite happy with it. So right now, the next thing I want to do is put in the foreground. I'm going to click on the foreground element here and plant it in here. Now, it is not 3D yet, so it looks like the foreground, if you play, it looks like the foreground is just stuck there, all right? So what you need to do is activate the 3D mode for the foreground, and you'll notice that it will move together, yeah? Now, you want it to have a sort of, probably like a parallax sort of a thing going on. And the final frame doesn't look very nice because this tree in the front is covering it. So what I'll do is zoom in. I'm going to pull the foreground to the front to give it a sense that it's pretty near us. Now it's too large, so I'm going to scale it down slightly. Move it probably to the side so that it has a nice framing. You can still see the dinosaur, you can still see the frog. And then we move it to the back. Oh, okay, there's a little bit of problem here, so I'm going to just move it now. I'll probably scale it too small. Probably bring it up 80 something percent. Okay. So yeah, I still have the frog here. It starts here, and when you play it now, so my foreground is in front, and this is where the background and all the frog is. So if you select, delete this foreground, I should have just used that. All of them are there. They are behind. This is the top view. You see, top. Okay, this is what your camera sees, active camera. If you want to change this view to, let's say, a custom view, you look at it. So this is what you get, right? This is behind and this is in front. Okay, if I go from the left, obviously what you see is this is all your background stuff. This is the foreground. This is the gray thing here. All right. So this is the top view. Yeah. So obviously all these things are flat. Yeah. If you really want to know, you want to prove it, you want to test it, click on this item here, press R, try and orientate it slightly. You see, it turns slightly half midway like that. Yeah. If I add like 17 degrees on the x-axis, and if you look here, it turns. So yeah, but we don't want to do that. We just want to have it remain at 0, 0. Okay, so let's play. So yeah, there's a little bit of parallax. It's not that perceivable, but good enough to kind of show that there is a bit of foreground parallax going on. So yeah, this is considered one animated frame. Okay, so now I want to just show you how to output a scene like this. Obviously, if you're making a whole animatic, you would have a lot more other scenes, and you would output that whole final edit where all the scenes are compiled in that composition. But just for the sake of showing you how to output files from After Effects, all you need to do is Control-N. Of course, my favorite format is H.264 because it's the most compact of all formats. Full, make sure that, and if your animatic has sound, make sure that when you click on output mode, that this is click on. There are some times where you kind of forget and you spend like 8 hours animating it only to realize it has no sound because you didn't click this on. Yeah, so don't do that. And this one, output to, basically just tells you where you want to output it to. You can do it onto your desktop, press save, and then just hit render. I think this won't take very long, so yeah, probably a couple more seconds. So you see the yellow bar moving, and we're done. So let's have a look. It should be on the desktop already. Let's click the file. Okay, so it came out as this. Yeah. Okay. Ribbit. Probably I would have adjusted the timing a little bit more pauses in between. But I think you get the gist of how to use simple transformation tools in After Effects to just make a very simple but I think effective animatic. Alright, so have fun. practice a lot more and try it out with your own scenes.